Hey everybody, it's Ron Grant, and you're watching Just for the Record. Stay tuned, you're watching 284 Media.
That's some great ideas. So we gonna have some lobster? Hello?
Wait, you're the lunch I get? You say you were sick? What happened to over the rehearsal?
No, babe. I'm actually watching the news right now. Take a listen.
Topping our newscast today, UFOs seen around Tortola Pier Park.
And District 3 residents outraged over no water supply. They simply cannot bathe. These and more stories when 284 News returns. All right, babe, just get some rest, take 2 Advil, and I'll see you later. Bye.
Okay, honey. I see you later. I love you.
It's clear to see that Coconut Lounge is a place to be, the coolest cocktail lounge in the British Virgin Islands. A lounge like no other, with welcoming, professional service, and a breathtaking ambiance. Not forgetting a diverse selection of wines, beers, and signature cocktails. Cozy, comfortable, contemporary. Coconut Lounge at Tortola Pier Park. Visit us today. Miss Sandy Underhill. By all accounts, what you see is what you get. A mother of 4, grandmother of 2. You are the second of 7 children. Authentic, strong, passionate. Someone said she works hard. Nobody controls that school like Sandy. You could have been anything, Miss Underhill, anything at all. As a matter of fact, I understand that in your earlier years of education, you had ambitions of being a lawyer. And then your heart steered you towards education. And now you seek to have a seat in the next generation of the House of Assembly. Politics is messy. It's ugly. It stinks. I don't have to tell you that. For a woman, at least you know.
Yes.
Why politics? Why would you put yourself through such scrutiny?
Barring all that you said, all the dirty part, politics is about people. Politics is about service to humanity, and that's where I come in. That's what I've been doing all my life. That's where my passion lies. My passion lies in giving back to the community and in providing a service. The greatest joy that I get out of being the principal of Elmo Stout High School is in changing the lives of the youth that come under my care every day. And I see Elmo Stout High School as being a reflection of our wider society. A lot of people ask me, why are you leaving Elmo Stout High School?
Yes.
You're doing a good job. Why not do a greater job in the wider community? Basically, politics to me is about people. And that's what I do. Give back to humanity, providing a service to humanity.
At this stage in your life, at this point, any regrets? Would you do anything differently at all?
You know, it's funny because a lot of conversations with different folk, you tend to hear people talking about, I regret. And with me, I don't regret any aspect or any experience that I've had in my life because they've all shaped me into the woman that I am today. 2 failed marriages, going to different universities or schools and changing the course of study from one thing to the next. But today I can see that God had a great plan for my life because all of it has come together full circle to make me the person that I am today.
No, you just said 2 failed marriages. No, I talk to the people a lot.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that I've been hearing.
Mm-hmm.
2 failed marriages, she's too social, you know.
Too social.
Yeah. What do you say to that, just for the record?
Well, let's talk about the 2 failed marriages. I don't look at it as a failure per se, so we might want to take the word failure
Out of it.
The thing about it is, I grew up in a family that is very spiritually grounded. We are Catholics by religion and believe in the Almighty God. And I don't believe that God wants us to be unhappy. No pun intended on any of the men that I married. They're superhero fathers, but we didn't have great relationships. And once I realized that I wasn't happy, I think that because of the example of my mom, I was strong enough to just say, you know what, time to move on. And in so doing, I was able to do a lot of the things that I'm now doing today, even being the principal of the high school and being free to do certain things. Walking away, putting all those experiences and into perspective made me strong, made me a strong person, the person that I am today. So I don't look at it as a failure. I have 4 beautiful children out of 2 marriages. But the thing about it is that what I would say to a lot of women, there are a lot of women out there who they're not happy and they're not strong enough. And I wish that I could be the role model for them to say, look, I'm strong enough. Life is about being happy. God wants us to be happy.
Indeed.
And that's the choice I made. I made a choice to be happy.
And to be a strong woman.
To be a strong woman.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, just like you mentioned, there have been talks about why is she leaving the school? you know, what's going to happen to the students and the school at Elmore Stowe. Tell me about the foundation that you have laid as principal.
So I too have my feelings about leaving. It wasn't an easy decision to make going into this arena of politics. But I think that coming in 2014, one of the foundational things that I did and that meant a lot to me was succession planning. Quite a number of people who work closely around me were molded into doing certain roles and responsibilities. And I have no doubt, I have all confidence that the school is going to run. There are 4 assistant principals and all of them in their rightful duties. Any one of them can run the school. So I have no doubt. I mean, all our personalities are different. They're not going to be like me. I am not like them. But in terms of the roles
Definitely.
and responsibilities, and there are other junior staff as well, middle manager staff, who can step up and do just about anything at the school. So I have no doubt the school is at a crossroad, just like the country is at a crossroad. And for me, again, with persons asking and wanting to be reassured, everybody has to understand that the school is not Sandy. The school is Elmore Stowe High School. I think I did what I needed to do, and I believe just about anybody can run the school. They have the ability to do it.
Speaking of that, I remember, I think it was about a year or 2 ago, I was on my way to work, came down Joe's Hill, and there you are with your walkie-talkie, walking into the ghetto. And I said to myself, but where's she going behind these children? And nobody had to tell me. I was aware of the fact that many of the students, for whatever reason, find their way into the ghetto. And there you were as principal, with your walkie-talkie, walking head up, not concerned about who was watching, going into the ghetto for your students. Now, let me see, and I might get some backlash for this. For me, as a resident and a voter, just by observing that, if that is any kind of inkling of the leader you intend to be, I commend you, and I appreciate that. Because again, from a voter's perspective, what we don't need are the people that are going to walk around the society with the nose up. They're not going to act like they don't drive on the same roads that we do or smell the same sewage that we smell in Road Town. But most importantly, if going into the ghetto for your students was what you had to do, then that's exactly what you did.
And that is indicative of my personality. I remember going into the ghetto the first time, and my security officers asked me the same question, where are you going? I had on heels, similar to what I'm wearing right now, and fancy clothes and whatever. And I wasn't thinking about any of that stuff. I was thinking about my students. I had heard prior to that first instance that's where the kids hang out, the boys, some of the most at-risk boys. And my goal was just to go and get them. And I don't regret that, because having gone into the ghetto, I was able to build relationships. I remember walking into the ghetto the first time and everybody looking around like, where's she going? And all I said was, good morning. Y'all proceed. Just look out for my kids in blue and blue. Look out for my kids and that's what they wanted to hear. They didn't want to feel like as if I was coming in there to check them or to put them in their place or to tell them what they should and should not be doing. So basically, I just went in there and asked them to keep an eye out for my blue and blue. And when they see them, send them to school.
Send them to school.
And I believe that for the most part, they were doing that, because shortly after that, I didn't have to go back anymore. They weren't hanging out there as much as they were. But I mean, to speak to your point, it is very important that anyone that is given the God-given gift of being placed in a high position understands that you're being placed there by God. You're being placed there by God, and then you have the people, especially in the arena of politics, it's people, people first. And you can't act like as if you're better than people. That's who I am. I mingle with everybody. I talk to everybody. I meet people wherever they are. If it's in the church, if it's in the school, if it's on the street, if it's in the supermarket, and if it's in the bar. I meet them wherever they are. That is, we live in a small society, and people hang out in all those places. And that's where I go to meet them. And most of the connections that I have today, the things that I were able to do at the Elmore Stowe High School, is because I met people on the street. I met them where they were. They saw me being authentic and being just like them, and saying that, oh, she's not what we thought she was. She's not somebody who's an airhead, and relatable. And I think that's a very important component to politics.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Speaking of such, what do you think is the biggest misconception of Sandy Underhill?
That the same topic we're on right now, there's still some who think that I am an airhead and I think I'm better than people, and I think that, and I'm condescending. I think sometimes we get the word condescending mixed up with confidence. Someone who's strong, especially for a woman, and someone who's confident. I think sometimes we get the words all mixed up. I am a strong woman and I don't apologize for it. I came from a family of 7 where my mother raised all of us practically on her own. And what I saw was a strong woman raising her family. I don't have anything else to say was my example of how to lead my life other than my mom showing us that when the tough gets going, you get tougher. So, sometimes I'm soft, sometimes I am abrasive when I have to be. And I think a lot of people confuse that because they expect you to be a woman. I'm not bad looking. You look a certain way, and they expect
Not bad
you to,
looking at all.
They expect you to act a certain way. And I keep telling people all the time, it's a man's world, it's a woman's world, but the role and responsibilities that I have, even as a principal, traditionally was a man's position.
Correct.
You can't ask somebody to do a man's job and then tell them every day they must act like a lady. And I don't know what that means. I really am just answering to what tradition and what the culture says. But for me, Sandy Underhill, I am authentic. This is who I am. I think people are intrigued a lot. I think I keep them always intrigued, meaning they want to know what's coming next.
Keep them guessing.
Yes, but it's not something that's intentional. That's my personality. So for instance, today I might be soft and cool and everybody's like, oh, okay, she in a good mood today. And then tomorrow, but I am someone who goes with the situation. You could say situational, transformational, whatever it is. And I'm quick to switch in and out when necessary. So I would say the biggest misconception, if there was one, is that a lot of people look at me, mostly women, I would say, and I could see that, not understanding that I am just a strong, confident woman.
And do you think that strength sometimes just scares people
I
whatever
think,
reason?
I think it does. I think like anything else, it scares people. People look at you and sometimes they don't even know why they don't like you. They say, well, I don't like her. And when you ask why you don't like her, they give you 100 different reasons and sometimes they don't even make any sense. But I'm comfortable with that because we have to recognize we live in a world where everybody's not going to like you. The thing I always pride myself on is the word respect. If they respect you, then you've won the battle. And I think for the most part, even with my job, I have a staff of 140 something teachers, just under 200 staff, about 180 something staff altogether. That's not a joke. And as a matter of fact, that only comes into my mind every now and again. It dawns on me the level of responsibility. And when I think of my staff, I cannot think of one person on the staff that disrespects me, that doesn't respect me. And that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Yes.
What would you say has been your proudest accomplishment as principal?
Changing the ethos of the school, not in a way that most will expect me to say. It's sort of ironic because we have nothing. The school has nothing in the sense of what the world deems to be stuff. There's no infrastructure, there's no building. We lost everything and had to be relocated. What is my biggest accomplishment is changing hearts and minds, mostly of the students, because when I came into the school in 2014, everybody can agree, if you remember, the school was sort of like a war zone. And while we still have a lot of work to do in terms of discipline, we've come a long way. And I've seen the transformation. I've seen students who are now prepped and primed for graduation in 12th grade. I met them in, I would say, maybe 9th grade, 8th grade, and they were at risk. Students, still to some extent, but they have totally transformed to the point where they can actually have a chance now at graduation. See a lot of my boys in 12th grade today. Of course, I can't call their names, but that's my greatest joy, because that's the purpose, the reason why I went into education. I didn't go in there. Yes, it's about books and knowledge, but it's the way we look at knowledge. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions. A lot of us look at knowledge and limit it to the book and the classroom and don't realize how much power and control we have over knowledge, period. The scope and realm of knowledge and teaching and molding. And that's my greatest joy. My greatest joy is in talking to students every day. And I can see 9 out of 10 listening and actually being transformed as a result of a conversation that I or anybody else would have had with them.
We all talk about wanting a better Virgin Islands, and that means I've realized that it means different things for different people. What does a better Virgin Islands look like for you?
A better Virgin Islands looks, to me, this may be a controversial response, but anybody that knows me knows I'm going to keep it real and be authentic. A better Virgin Islands we can say a lot of things. We can talk about infrastructure. We can talk about growth and development. We can talk about the economy. We can talk about finance. We can talk about education. We can talk about healthcare and immigration. And all those things are worth talking about, and they will be talked about. But a better Virgin Islands for me is a Virgin Islands that embraces everyone. This is a very emotional and passionate point for me. A better Virgin Islands is a Virgin Islands that understands the roots and the history of our country, and that this country was built by everyone. It was built by indigenous BV Islanders as well as non-indigenous BV Islanders. A person like my mom, who's been here for 40-something years, sweating and toiling every single day from the island of Dominica, who loves her island of Dominica but loves the BVI even more. People like that, us embracing them and understanding that we are all one, to give everybody a fair fighting chance, to understand that we are equal. You're born here, you're born here. This whole idea of being born here and who isn't born here. A better Virgin Islands for me is understanding that we are all BV Islanders and we all care about the future of the BVI. So if we can win that battle, I believe working together, collaboratively as a people, we can then begin to talk about infrastructure, education, and all the other things, because we are going to build it together. And for that reason, we will have a better tomorrow.
Thank you so much for that. Let's play a little game. All right. Now, the way this works is I'm going to ask you a series of questions. We're going to have really short answers, okay? And I'd like to call this segment, I Bet They Didn't Know. Okay? So the first thing that comes to your head is the first thing that I'd like you to say. Ready? Childhood crush or celebrity crush?
Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington. Secret talent?
Singing.
No, singing.
But it's not a secret anymore.
I would like to hear that myself, actually. It's been a secret?
It's been a secret.
Guilty pleasure?
Lots and lots of sweets.
Sweets.
Lots and lots of crunchy things that are sweet.
Luxury you cannot live without?
What can I not live without? Good smelling perfume.
Interesting, interesting. Weirdest job you've ever had?
The weirdest job I've ever had. I didn't have very many. It went from hospitality to education. Well, I wouldn't say weird, but the most eye-opening job for me that taught me that this is not where I need to be is in the DPP office as a training to be a lawyer.
Okay.
And realizing that
that's not what you want.
That's not what I want to do.
All right. When are you most happiest?
When I'm around people.
Okay.
When I'm around people.
What food can you eat every day?
Like I said, sweets, crunchy
Sweets.
stuff.
Okay.
I have to will myself not to eat those things.
Something
Anything that crunches.
Something you wish you were better at?
I wish I had a calmer spirit sometimes.
Okay.
Can be a little feisty, and I pray a lot about that.
Okay.
That's something I need to work on. I get agitated sometimes easily especially when I see something that needs to be done and it's not being done. Anything that has to do with work ethic and people just fooling around and not doing what they're supposed to do agitates me. I wish I can work on my patience a little bit more.
Would you say that would be a pet peeve of yours as well?
It is.
Okay.
It is a pet peeve in terms of when I look around, I find that as a BVI, as a Virgin Islands, we can do a lot better. We are intelligent people, needless to say, in a lot of high positions. But one of the things I notice about us is we become complacent. And I'm someone who believes in hard work. Like I said, that's all I've seen all my life. My mom working hard to raise us, working hard to keep the business going and doing a lot of it on her own. So I have no other example from which to draw. That is a pet peeve of mine. Hard work, just working, and the work ethic of people.
What should we be paying more attention to in the Virgin Islands?
I think we need, like I said, my answers are not going to be your inside the box answers. I think we need to be paying attention to each other. I think we need to be paying attention to people. I think a lot of who I am is grounded spiritually, and I know that may sound weird for some, but your heart is what makes you spiritual. And I believe that we are placed on this earth to make connections. It's about people. If I were to pass, and transition is the new word, tomorrow, what I want people to remember the most about me is that she understood people, not about what I have, what I didn't get, what nice house I live in, what fancy car I'm driving. It's about people and connection. So for me, the answer to that is people and the way we treat each other.
For anyone out there that might be undecided, not sure, why should they vote for Sandy Underhill?
Several reasons. Authenticity, what you see is what you get. You can trust me to do exactly what I say once I have the power to do so, once there are not any limitations preventing me from doing it. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Not just that I'm going to do it, but I'm going to get my hands dirty doing it as well. Secondly, my record speaks for itself. I came into a very difficult time in the Elmo Stout High School, and with the assistance of those around me, with the team, with my administration, with the support from the Ministry of Education, I think I was able to do a good job, and my record speaks for itself in terms of what I was able to do at the school. So I want people to trust that. I want people to trust not Sandy Underhill because she's Sandy Underhill and she's popular. I want people to look at me and say, look, I may not like this, or I may not like whatever. You have a right to not like certain things, but at the end of the day, she's someone who's going to get the job done, and she understands people. And that's what politics is about. Am I going to serve the people of the BVI? I'm going to serve all the people, the VIP, the NDP, the new NDP, whatever parties are out there. I'm not going to be one of those politicians who, because you didn't vote for me or because you have an affiliation politically, I'm going to toss you aside. I'm going to serve the people of the Virgin Islands.
Sandy Underhill, just for the record, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Grant.
When you need to stay connected with friends and families at home or abroad, the best choice for you is Freedom. CCT Freedom. With the lowest rates in the market, our Freedom plan gives you unlimited calls and texting. Plus, our Freedom One package includes 10 gigabits of super fast, unlimited LTE data and unlimited calls to the BVI, USA, USVI, Canada, Puerto Rico, and UK lines. Why pay for overages when you can enjoy CCT Freedom? Stop by at one of our stores today and speak with one of our representatives to find out more about our CCT Freedom packages.